Jamie, you think your scrawny self can talk back to me now? Tyson's voice sliced through the air, and at that precise moment, a stabbing pain shot through my 7-month pregnant belly. Ah, I gasped, folding over. Are you all right, Jamie? Tyson's mother, Rebecca, rushed over, a look of concern creasing her brow. Tyson continued standing, unmoved. She needs to learn her place. I'm the breadwinner, the genius. In this house my word is law, he spat, glaring at me, daring me to challenge him. I clenched my fists, feeling the fear and anger churn within me, too frightened of Tyson's raised hand to respond. Rebecca knelt beside me, her hand trembling as she touched my shoulder. Let me help you up, sweetheart, she said softly. I nodded, allowing her to guide me to the couch. I'm fine, I mumbled, forcing a weak smile. My heart pounded in my chest as I tried to catch my breath. Tyson's eyes narrowed. Don't coddle her, Mom. She needs to understand that her place is here, taking care of things, not running her mouth. Rebecca's eyes flickered between us, and she sighed. Tyson, can we just have a calm evening? For your child's sake? Tyson let out a bitter laugh. Calm? You think I can stay calm with her constantly testing me? He paused, his eyes piercing into mine. Had a good job in finance, huh, Jamie? Thought you were too good for me? Well, guess what? Your degree means nothing here. The words stung, reminding me of how I left my promising job at his insistence. It's better for the baby, he had said, smiling that charming smile he once had. That smile was long gone, replaced by a permanent scowl. Tyson, please, I whispered, afraid to meet his gaze. I'm doing my best. Your best isn't good enough. Tyson's voice boomed. Rebecca flinched beside me. The room went silent. I could feel the walls closing in, trapping me in this nightmare. Rebecca stood and turned to Tyson. Tyson, maybe we should give Jamie some space. Stress isn't good for the baby. Tyson scoffed, dismissing her with a wave. Fine. Do what you want. He stormed out, slamming the door behind him. Rebecca sighed deeply and sat beside me again. Jamie, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize things had gotten so bad. I bit my lip, fighting back tears. It's okay, Rebecca. I'm trying to keep everything together for the baby. She shook her head. You don't have to do this alone. We'll figure something out. I nodded, though doubt clouded my mind. Could I really escape this? Tyson's words echoed in my head, making me question everything. That night, as I lay in bed, I rested my hand on my swollen belly and whispered, We'll be okay, I promise. Determination surged through me. I had to find a way out. Not just for me, but for the child growing inside me. The next morning, Rebecca cautiously approached me as I prepared some tea. Jamie, I've been thinking, is there anyone you can talk to? Anyone who can help? I paused, staring into the cup's swirling depths. I have a cousin, Austin. He's an investigative journalist. Maybe he can help. Rebecca nodded. Reach out to him. Seek his advice. You might be more powerful than you think. I took a deep breath, feeling a glimmer of hope. Maybe I wasn't as trapped as I felt. Maybe, just maybe, I could reclaim my life. As I dialed Austin's number, I braced myself for what lay ahead. The fight wasn't over. It was just beginning. I met Tyson at a friend's engagement party. He was charming, with a smooth laugh and a reassuring smile, the kind of guy who could talk about anything. That night, he focused on me. Jamie, right? Financial analyst? He asked, his eyes twinkling. Must be tough, all those numbers, I laughed. Yeah, but I love it. What about you? What do you do? Corporate lawyer, he said with a grin. I crush numbers too, just a different kind. Our relationship moved fast. Late-night dinners, shared stories, and endless hours together. It felt right, secure. He was always so interested in my work, my opinions, until everything changed. A few months in, we found out I was pregnant. He was thrilled, playing the perfect partner. But then came the suggestion. Jamie, you should quit your job, he said one evening, running a hand through his hair. It's best for the baby. Stress isn't good, you know. I hesitated. But I love my job, Tyson. It makes me feel fulfilled. He smiled that familiar smile. I know, babe, but think about our child. You can always go back later. Reluctantly, I agreed. I handed in my resignation, believing it was the right choice, for us, for the baby. But then the changes started. Subtle at first. Why is the house a mess, Jamie? He'd ask casually, eyes narrowing when he didn't like my answer. What did you do all day? It escalated quickly. He became more demanding, controlling. Tyson, the caring partner, was gone, replaced by someone I hardly recognized. The pressure was suffocating. What good is a career if you can't even be a proper mother? He sneered once. Catching me off guard while I was folding laundry, I swallowed hard. I'm trying my best, Tyson. The baby isn't even here yet. His eyes darkened. Trying isn't good enough. You need to do better. The days blurred together, each one harder than the last. Tyson would come home expecting everything to be perfect. If it wasn't, there'd be consequences. Verbal jabs, cold glares, sometimes worse. Nights were the worst. I'd lie awake, my mind racing. How did it get this bad? Was this my life now? One evening, after a particularly harsh argument about dinner not being ready on time, I made my decision. I had to call Austin. Maybe he could help. The phone buzzed in my hand as I waited for him to pick up. Jamie, it's been a while. Austin's voice was warm over the line. Austin, I whispered, glancing over my shoulder to make sure Tyson wasn't nearby. I need your help. It's about Tyson. Austin hesitated. What's going on? Are you in danger? Tears welled up, but I fought them back. It's bad, Austin. He's changed. He's controlling, and I can't take it anymore. Austin's voice hardened. I'll be there tomorrow. We'll figure this out together. I hung up, the weight of my decision heavy but necessary. For too long, I'd let Tyson control my life. That was about to change. I wouldn't let fear stop me anymore. My escape hatch, my lifeline, was on his way. As I set the phone down, I squared my shoulders, feeling a flicker of hope. The fight wasn't just for me. It was for my baby, my future, our future, and I was ready to reclaim it. The following morning, Tyson was already out when I woke up. That gave me some time to think and prepare. I needed to figure out how to approach Austin when he arrived. The doorbell interrupted my thoughts. Jamie, Austin called, his voice both urgent and comforting. I opened the door to see my cousin, his expression a mix of worry and determination. Austin, thanks for coming. My voice broke, but I stood firm. He stepped inside, hugging me carefully around my pregnant belly. Tell me everything, he urged, leading me to the living room. We sat down, and I laid it all out. Every incident, every cutting remark, every slap. Austin's face grew darker with each word. He's a monster. Austin finally said, We need to get you out of here. A loud noise upstairs startled us. Tyson had come home early, my pulse quickened. Austin, he's here. Tyson descended the stairs, his presence imposing. Who's here? His eyes zeroed in on Austin sitting beside me. What's going on? Austin stayed calm, standing up slowly. Just visiting my cousin, Tyson. Thought I'd see how she's doing. Tyson sneered. Why? To meddle in our business? He shot a glare at me. Jamie, you know better than to bring outsiders into our home. I felt my knees weaken, but Austin stepped closer to Tyson. We're family, Tyson. I have every right to check on Jamie. Tyson's fists clenched. She doesn't need checking on. We're fine. Austin's eyes didn't waver. Your definition of fine looks pretty damn abusive. Tyson took a step forward, his voice menacing. Get out before you regret it, Austin. I moved between them, my voice trembling but resolute. Tyson, he's here to help. We're not fine. We haven't been for a long time. His hand shot out, grabbing my wrist tightly. Shut up, Jamie. Don't make this worse. Austin quickly intervened, pulling Tyson away. Don't touch her. This stops now. Tyson pushed Austin back. You think you can come into my house and dictate terms? You know nothing about how I run things here. Austin shot back. I know enough, and this ends today. Tyson's eyes filled with rage. You haven't seen the last of this, Jamie, he threatened, storming out of the house. Once he was gone, I collapsed onto the couch, tears streaming down my face. Austin sat beside me, putting an arm around my shoulder. We need to get you somewhere safe. I know, I whispered, clutching my belly. For the baby's sake. Austin nodded, resolve in his eyes. Pack what you need. You're coming with me. I packed quickly, fearful of Tyson's return. Each item I placed in the suitcase felt like a step closer to freedom. Once I was ready, Austin and I left the house cautiously. As the car pulled away, the weight on my shoulders began to lift. I knew Tyson wouldn't let go easily, but for now, I was free from his reach. Austin turned to me, his face intense but caring. We're going to get through this, Jamie. You're stronger than you know. I gave a small, hopeful smile. For the first time in months, I felt a spark of hope. Whatever came next, I wasn't alone in this fight, and that made all the difference. A few days later, I sat with my parents at their dining table. It felt safe here, surrounded by familiar faces. Austin had assured me he was gathering evidence to expose Tyson's wrongdoing. My mom, Laura, poured me a cup of tea. "Jamie, how are you feeling?" she asked gently. I offered a small smile. "Better, Mom. Just trying to take one day at a time." My dad, Paul, reached over to squeeze my hand. "You're safe here, sweetheart. We'll help you through this." The doorbell rang, and we all glanced towards the hallway. My heart skipped a beat, but my dad stood up, reassuring me with a look. He returned a moment later with Austin. "Hey," Austin greeted, sitting beside me. "I've been digging, and I've found quite a lot on Tyson. This guy's got his hands dirty everywhere." My mom frowned, concern etched on her face. "What does that mean, Austin?" "It means Tyson is involved in more than bullying Jamie," Austin explained. "There's bribery, client manipulation, even illegal dealings within his firm." My heart pounded harder. "How did you find all that?" Austin smiled grimly. "I'm good at my job. I've got a friend, David Klein, who works with Tyson. He's been helping me gather evidence." "So, what now?" I asked, looking between my parents and Austin. "We're planning a family gathering," Austin said. "It's a cover. Tyson won't suspect anything. We'll expose him in front of everyone." I looked at my parents, my voice trembling. "Will it work?" "It has to," Austin replied firmly. "It's the best way to corner him." Preparations for the family gathering began. Mom and Dad helped with everything, making sure it looked like a typical get-together. Yet, beneath the surface, I sensed the tension. On the day of the gathering, Tyson arrived with his parents, Rebecca and Frank. The room was filled with smiles and polite conversations, but I could feel the undercurrent of anxiety. Tyson approached me, a forced smile on his face. "Jamie, you look well," he said, his voice devoid of warmth. "Thanks," I replied, keeping my distance. Austin stood nearby, seemingly casual but alert. Tyson's parents mingled with mine, discussions about mundane topics filling the room. The setup was perfect. As the evening progressed, I saw my chance. I signaled to Austin, who nodded and gathered everyone in the living room. "Folks, can I have your attention?" Austin began, his voice steady. "There's something important we need to discuss." Tyson's eyes narrowed, a hint of suspicion in his gaze. "What is this about, Austin?" Austin stepped forward, pulling out a folder. "This is about you, Tyson, and the illegal activities you've been involved in." Gasps filled the room. Tyson's face turned pale. "What the hell are you talking about?" "Bribery, client manipulation, and illegal dealings," Austin said, opening the folder. "These documents prove everything." Rebecca looked at her son, bewildered. "Tyson, is this true?" Tyson clenched his jaw, eyes flashing with anger. "This is nonsense. Lies." David, Tyson's colleague, stepped forward. "It's true, Rebecca. I've seen it all." Tyson lunged towards David, but Austin intercepted. "Enough, Tyson. The evidence is against you. Everyone here knows the truth now." Tyson's facade crumbled, rage contorting his face. "You'll pay for this, Jamie," he spat, his voice venomous. I stepped back, my parents close behind. Austin remained firm, protecting me. "No, Tyson, you're the one who'll pay." The gathering ended in chaos, but I felt an overwhelming sense of relief. Tyson's grip on me was broken. My family, Austin, and even David, were my strength. As I watched Tyson be escorted out, disgraced and defeated, I knew a new chapter had begun, one where I would reclaim my life, for myself and for my child. The fight wasn't over, but for the first time in a long time I felt empowered. The day of the family gathering had arrived, and the air was thick with tension. Tyson walked into the room, scanning the faces around him. His eyes locked onto mine briefly before he smirked, still confident, still towering. I felt my pulse quicken, but I stood my ground, surrounded by my parents and Austin. "Jamie, come over here," he called out. "Let's show everyone how solid we are." His voice dripped with sarcasm. Taking a deep breath, I walked over, feeling Austin's reassuring glance. Tyson put an arm around me, a gesture that felt like a chain. "Everyone, thanks for coming," he began, his voice loud and commanding. "We're here to introduce all our families, and to celebrate the upcoming arrival of our child." Applause broke out, uneasy but polite. I could tell people sensed the underlying tension, the masked hostility. Austin stepped forward, clearing his throat. "Indeed, we appreciate you all being here," he said, locking eyes with Tyson. "However, there's something more we need to address." Tyson's grip on my shoulder tightened. "What do you mean, Austin?" he asked, a dangerous edge in his voice. Austin didn't back down. "It's about the kind of man you are, Tyson, what you've been doing behind the scenes." Gasps filled the room. Tyson's face turned a deep shade of red. This is a family gathering, not your platform for lies, he hissed. My father, Paul, stepped forward. Calm down, Tyson. We all deserve to hear what Austin has to say. Tyson's eyes flashed with rage. Paul, you're really going to let him ruin this night? My mother, Laura, spoke up, her voice firm. Tyson, let's hear him out. We need to know the truth. Seeing there was no backing down, Austin continued. Tyson's law career isn't as clean as he makes it out to be. Bribery, client manipulation, illegal dealings, he's involved in all of it. Rebecca looked horrified. Tyson, tell me this isn't true. He tried to laugh it off. Mom, don't listen to this. Austin's trying to cause trouble. Austin pulled out documents, handing them to Rebecca. This is proof. I've worked with David Klein, Tyson's colleague, to uncover these deeds. David stepped forward, looking solemn. It's true. I can vouch for it all. Tyson lunged at David, but Austin blocked him. Touch him, and you'll regret it, Austin warned. Tyson glared at me, his eyes seething with hatred. You think this changes anything, Jamie? You think exposing me will make you feel safe? I took a deep breath, forcing myself to stand firm. It's not about feeling safe, Tyson. It's about the truth. It's about doing what's right for our child. Your child? He scoffed. You think you can handle this on your own? Austin interjected. It's over, Tyson. Everyone knows. Your career, your reputation, it's finished. Tyson's facade finally broke. He pleaded, Jamie, you've known me. We can work through this. Don't let them destroy our family. I took a step back, shaking my head. You destroyed it, Tyson. There's no going back. His rage turned into desperation. Please, you can't do this. I'll lose everything. Austin looked at Tyson with a mixture of disgust and pity. You should have thought of that before you started down this path. Rebecca and Frank seemed at a loss, torn between their son and the overwhelming evidence. Tyson, I don't even know who you are anymore, Frank muttered. As Tyson was escorted out, he threw one last glare my way. You'll regret this, Jamie. Mark my words. The door closed behind him, and the room seemed to exhale collectively. I felt a rush of relief wash over me. It was far from over, but this was a start. Austin turned to me, his smile reassuring. You did good, Jamie. Now, let's focus on rebuilding your life. I nodded, feeling a swell of hope. This wasn't the end, but a new beginning. The journey ahead would be tough, but I wasn't alone, and that made all the difference. The news of Tyson's exposure spread quickly. Within days, his once sterling reputation was in ruins. Every media outlet in the city seemed to have a story about the disgraced lawyer involved in illegal dealings. I watched it all unfold from the safety of my parents' home. Austin worked tirelessly, coordinating with David to make sure every piece of incriminating evidence reached the right hands. I could see the strain in his eyes, but he never wavered. One evening, Austin sat across from me at the kitchen table, sifting through papers. He looked up, an intense expression on his face. We did it, Jamie. The evidence is strong enough. Tyson's firm has started their internal investigation, and the authorities are involved now. Relief flooded through me. Thank you, Austin. I couldn't have done it without you. He shook his head. You did the hard part, Jamie. Standing up to him took real courage. Just then, my phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Hope you're happy with yourself. Count your days. My heart skipped a beat. Tyson. Austin saw my expression. What's wrong? I handed him the phone. His jaw tightened as he read the message. He's desperate. He's trying to intimidate you. We need to take this to the police. Later that night, a knock at the door startled us. My dad opened it to find Detective Martin standing there, a stern look on his face. Good evening. May I come in? We gathered in the living room as he spoke. We've received reports that Tyson's behavior has escalated. We're taking the threat seriously. What can we do? I asked, my voice trembling. Detective Martin looked at me sympathetically. For now, you need to stay somewhere safe. We're building a case against him, but he's unstable. Austin nodded. I've made arrangements. Jamie and her parents can come stay with me for a while. The days that followed were tense. Moving into Austin's apartment felt like another step toward safety, but the threat loomed large. Each knock on the door, each unfamiliar sound outside, sent a chill down my spine. One afternoon, as we were settling in, my lawyer called. Jamie, Tyson is trying to discredit you. He's claiming you fabricated evidence to ruin his career. I felt my blood boil. What? After everything he put me through, he's still trying to turn this around? Austin took the phone from me, his voice firm. Tell the lawyer we have all the evidence backed up. Tyson's lies won't stand in court. My lawyer reassured us. We'll fight this, Jamie. Don't let him scare you. Hanging up, Austin turned to me. Stay strong, Jamie. He's just grasping at straws now. Evening fell and I stood by the window looking out at the city lights. Austin joined me, his presence a comforting anchor. You know, he started, Tyson wanted you to feel alone and powerless. But look at you now. You're stronger than ever. A small smile broke through my worry. Thanks, Austin. I still can't believe how far we've come. As I gazed out, I saw a figure lurking down the street, causing my heart to race. Austin. Look. He peered out and immediately called the police. Moments later, sirens blared and officers swarmed the area. They apprehended a man who turned out to be one of Tyson's associates. Detective Martin called shortly after. Jamie, good news. We found a direct link between the man we arrested and Tyson's plans to harm you. Your testimony just became even more crucial. Breathing a sigh of relief, I whispered, maybe we can finally put this behind us. Austin placed a reassuring hand on my shoulder. We will, Jamie. And when we do, you'll have a future free from fear. The path ahead was uncertain, but for the first time in months, I felt a glimmer of hope. The battle with Tyson was far from over, but I knew I had the strength and support to see it through to the end. With Austin and my family by my side, I was ready to face whatever came next. Nervous energy filled the room as we prepared for the legal battle ahead. Austin sat across from me, poring over documents, while my parents offered quiet encouragement. My phone buzzed with yet another call from my lawyer. Jamie, the lawyer began, we've secured a court date. Be ready. Tyson's defense will try to paint you as a vindictive spouse. I sighed, frustration bubbling up. How can they still believe his lies after everything we've proven? Austin leaned in, listening, his face set with determination. Jamie, we won't let them twist this around. We have the truth on our side. Outside the courthouse, the media buzzed like a hive. Cameras flashed, reporters shouted questions. Austin shielded me as we made our way inside. Tyson was already there, looking disheveled yet defiant. He smirked as we passed. Hope you're ready for a fight, Jamie, he sneered. Instead of responding, I stepped forward with my head held high. I wouldn't give him the satisfaction of seeing my fear. In the courtroom, Tyson's lawyer stood, launching into a defense. My client has been wrongfully accused. His wife, overwhelmed by pregnancy hormones, has manufactured this story to tarnish his reputation. Anger flared up inside me. Austin placed a calming hand on my arm. Stay focused, he whispered. Our lawyer presented the evidence, documents, testimonies, and videos that painted the real picture of Tyson's misdeeds. Each piece was a blow to Tyson's carefully crafted facade. I watched his expression harden, confidence waning. David Klein took the stand, verifying the damning information. Tyson orchestrated bribes, manipulated clients, and abused his position, David stated firmly. Tyson's lawyer tried to discredit David, but the evidence was unshakable. Finally, it was my turn. Taking a deep breath, I faced the jury, every word a release of the fear and pain Tyson had caused. Tyson manipulated and terrorized me, I said, my voice steady. But I refused to let him control my life any longer. Tyson glared at me from across the room. Lies, he spat under his breath. After hours of testimonies and evidence, the judge dismissed the court for a short recess. I stepped outside, the weight of the moment pressing down on me. Austin joined me on a bench, his presence a steady anchor. You did amazing, Jamie. We're almost there. Thank you, I said, genuinely grateful. I'm just scared. What if? He cut me off. No, what ifs? We're gonna win. Believe it. The courtroom reconvened, and both sides presented their closing arguments. The judge's face was stern, unreadable as he considered the evidence. After what felt like an eternity, he finally spoke. The evidence presented against Tyson Evans is compelling and conclusive. This court finds him guilty of all charges. Gasps and murmurs filled the room. Tyson's face was a mask of disbelief and rage. This isn't over, Jamie, he shouted as officers led him away. You'll pay for this. I stood tall, Austin by my side. No, Tyson, it's over, I said softly, more to myself than to him. Outside, the media frenzy was in full swing. Cameras flashed as we exited, reporters clamoring for statements. I felt a mix of relief and exhaustion. My family gathered around me, their support a warm shield against the chaos. Austin placed a hand on my shoulder, his voice filled with pride. Jamie, you did it. You stood up to him and won. Tears of relief welled up as I hugged him. We did it, Austin. Together. The road ahead was still uncertain, but for the first time I felt a sense of peace. The looming threat of Tyson was over, and I could finally see a future where my child and I would be safe. With my family and Austin's unwavering support, I was ready to rebuild and move forward one step at a time. Settling into my parents' home, I felt a strange peace. Tyson was behind bars, facing the consequences of his actions. My child was due any day now, and I was surrounded by love and support. Yet, the scars would take time to heal. I sat in the living room, my mom knitting beside me. You did the right thing, Jamie, she said, not looking up from her work. Tyson is paying for his crimes now. I know, Mom, I replied. It's just, everything feels so surreal. My dad came in with a cup of tea. Surreal, maybe, but you faced it head on. We're so proud of you. Thanks, Dad, I said, a small smile forming, but the future felt daunting. The doorbell rang, and Austin walked in, carrying a stack of papers. Jamie, got a moment? I nodded, motioning for him to sit. What's up? He handed me the papers. These are job offers. Companies eager to hire someone with your skills and your story. You don't have to decide now, but I thought you should see them. I flipped through the pages. I wasn't sure anyone would hire me after all this. Austin smiled. People value resilience and determination, Jamie. They see the fighter in you. My phone buzzed with a text from Margaret, my best friend. Can I come by? We need a girls' day. I laughed, replying quickly. Sure, come over. Margaret arrived within the hour, and we settled in for a catch-up session. You look good, Jamie, she said, squeezing my hand. I'm so glad you're out of that nightmare. Thanks, Margaret, I said. It's been a hell of a ride. She grinned. Let's talk about your plans. Any thoughts on getting back into finance? I glanced at the job offers Austin had brought. Yeah, there are some opportunities. I want to provide for my baby, build a stable future. Margaret nodded, her eyes shining with pride. You'll do great. I know it. Later that evening, as the sun set, I found myself in the nursery my parents had helped me set up. The soft pastel colors and gentle light made it a haven. As I arranged tiny clothes and toys, a rush of determination filled me. My child deserved nothing but the best, and I intended to give it. My dad appeared at the doorway. Thinking about the future? He asked, stepping in. Yeah, I am, I admitted. It's scary, but also exciting. He put an arm around me. You're stronger than you know, Jamie, and we're here every step of the way. The following days passed in a blur of preparations and moments with family. I accepted a job offer, excited about returning to finance. It felt like the start of a new chapter. One morning, I woke up with contractions. Mom! Dad! I called out, feeling both panic and anticipation. Hours later, my baby boy was born. As I held him for the first time, tears streamed down my face. Welcome to the world, I whispered. You're safe. We're safe. Austin arrived, his face lit with joy. Congratulations, Jamie. He's beautiful. I looked around at the faces of my loved ones, feeling a profound sense of gratitude and hope. The fight had been long and hard, but I had won, and now with my son in my arms, I was ready to embrace the future. As I left the hospital with my family, I took a deep breath. The sun shone brightly, and the world felt full of possibilities. Turning to Austin and my parents, I said, "Let's go home." We drove home, my heart full. The path ahead was still uncharted, but I no longer felt alone. With each step, I knew I was moving forward, leaving behind the shadows of the past. My son cooed softly in my arms, a reminder of the new life we would build together. A life filled with love, safety, and hope.